Do you feel alone and you're looking for ways to connect with others? In this episode, Willow talks about feeling vulnerable and how she is learning to lean on her online community. She shares tips on how you can show up authentically and set the intention for creating a space for others. She also says there's no need to suffer alone. So please stick around and enjoy the show. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tonia, and I'm excited because today I'm going to be talking to Miss Willow Drake, and she will share us how it feels to be a stay-at-home mom, but yet still running her business, and yet you still feel kind of like isolated. So it's a little bit of the vulnerability about being a stay-at-home mom, but yet businesswoman. So without further ado, she can explain a whole lot better than I can. Miss Willow Drake. So pleasure to have you, Miss Willow.
Hi, Tonia. You're lovely. I love you. It's a pleasure
You know
to be here.
I think I have too much fun doing this. I think I do.
Good. There's too many people out there that don't have enough fun, so you're having fun for them. I like it.
Yes. And I wanted to let our listeners know we connected through Facebook. Actually, you created a group. Well, actually, let me back that up. You were in a group. You said, hey, does anybody collaborate? And I'm like, me. And you reached out, and we came to find out that we have a lot in common with this whole enjoying life and just enjoying where we are. So can you take a little time to really introduce who is Willow and what are you all about?
So, yes, it's interesting and a little bit serendipitous because we're in a coaching group that my coach started, Kevin, and I think it has hundreds of people in it now. And I posted on the podcast. I said, does anybody have a podcast? And you said me, and you're in Cincinnati, which is hilarious because I'm in Cincinnati. Like what? I don't know what the chances are of that. So that's great. That was a good connection. I'm interested in my own podcast. And when you told me everything, all of the secrets and all that, it was wonderful. So thank you for sharing all of that. I'm from Cincinnati, originally from here. Like we were just saying, I've gone to India, I've gone to Ecuador, I've gone to Colorado, I've gone all over the place. I love traveling. I had my first child in 2018 and she grounded me, which was a lot at first because I was just like, I'm this strong, independent woman traveling the world. I don't need anybody. And then all of a sudden I needed somebody. I needed a lot of people. You know, it really does take a tribe to raise a family. So that shook me, and it taught me the importance of community. It taught me the importance of leaning on people. It taught me to release my ego and just be vulnerable. I knew that I was in love with my now fiance, married in 2 weeks, by the way, very exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I knew I was in love with him, and I actually just realized this like a week ago. I was in the hospital, and I just had Lily. That's our first child, and I had an unplanned C-section, which was traumatizing for me because again, ego, I was like, I'm going to have this magical water birth and the birds are going to sing and the flowers and it was just going to be perfect. Did not happen that way. I was not ready for the amount of pain that labor involved. It was just a mess. Cord got wrapped around her neck, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, C-section. So I was in the hospital. I was standing in the shower. I just had a C-section. The medicine had just worn off. I was in a lot of pain. I looked disgusting because I didn't have that belly anymore, like the baby belly. I had the after flab that no one ever talks about. I had a big old nasty scar all the way across my abdomen. And this man my fiance is just cleaning me. He's just helping me shower because I was in a lot of pain. And I'm just like, wow, I'm naked, I'm bleeding, I'm disgusting. And he's just here loving me. Like that's incredible to me. I've never experienced that level of like just deep unconditional love. And that's when I knew I was in love with him. And yeah, that deep vulnerability is what led me to love, you know. And I think it's the same thing when you talk about spirituality and God and I mean, whatever your spiritual path is, it takes that vulnerability and that real faith to experience the love that God and the universe has for you. So that's a little bit about my history as far as, you know, who I was before children, who I am now. I have had a difficult time with being a stay-at-home mom because I've been a spaz my whole life. I've been a server and a bartender, and I'm just like, all over the place. And now I'm at home and I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do you do? Like, am I just supposed to color all day? Like, is that really what my life is now? So I had a hard time embracing that. And it's taken, again, vulnerability and leaning on my community to realize that, one, I still do need other people, and I still need to continually lean on other people, specifically other women, because I love my fiance, but he does not understand what it's like to push a baby out of his, you know, it doesn't like mean that he doesn't love me or support me any less, but he just doesn't know. So
right.
To have those other women has been huge for me. It's been like really, really big, because things like having a schedule every day, wouldn't think about that, but it helps so much not to have everything just blend into the next thing, you know. And the same thing for my 2.5-year-old. She doesn't want to just sit around and do nothing all day. She likes having consistency and different activities and mixing it up. So that's been huge. It's been huge to just like take tips from other moms and really just put myself out there and ask for help and ask for advice and creative ideas and support. And now I have a second child. Going from 1 to 2 is like going from 1 to 5. It is not, it's like not just an extra child. It's like a whole experience. So I have a 4-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, and that has been a big transition. Now I'm leaning on my community even more than I did before. And all I have is gratitude. I just have so much gratitude for everybody. There's a long-winded answer to your question, but there it is.
Well, no, it sort of helps me lead into the next question, because for those who we didn't really talk about, you talked about you were in the core with your coach, but you also created a Facebook group, and that's geared towards the sisterhood. So how did that, really come about? How was the whole motivational factor behind that?
So the idea for the sisterhood actually came to me probably 1.5 years ago, when I was like at a really low point with staying at home. I felt super isolated, and I had just moved back to Cincinnati for like the 100th time. And I didn't really know anybody. I knew the people I grew up with, but I'm different. You know, I have different priorities now. So I didn't want to just go lean on the people from high school, because it just wasn't my thing. So I had this idea for the sisterhood as being a place where women could, you know, an online community, but also at some point after COVID, an in-person thing, you know, a safe space for us to discuss the hard stuff like abuse and aging and motherhood and marriage, divorce. We wanted to create, I say we because I've talked to other moms about this, but we wanted to create a space where people felt a strong sense of belonging, and people that really truly listen and care. And the most important part, challenge each other, because I think it's easy for women to over support each other, if that makes sense, where it's like everything you do is right and I'm just going to support you. I love you. And that's great, but it's not going to help us grow. So I wanted to create a safe space for people to really lovingly challenge each other. Originally, the idea was I'm going to create something outside of Facebook, because I was all anti-social media and very angsty about it. Like, I don't need Facebook. I'm going to create my own network. That didn't work so well. So I kind of fell out of that and just got back into my slump, and then got back, you know, back and forth. And then recently I hired a coach, Kevin Pedri, and he was like, just do it. Just put yourself out there. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to do it. So I made the group on Facebook. I had 100 members in less than 2 weeks, and people were just so excited and we're just loving it. We're close to 200 now, and it's just great. It's great to have a space, even in Facebook, where it's like, it's women only, and we talk about the hard stuff. You know, we have cute stuff. I'm like, sometimes I post show me your dogs. It's Tuesday. I'm feeling mad. Like, show me your puppies. So sometimes it's silly. It's not all serious, but it's nice to have that space because I need to lean on those people, and then they can all in turn lean on me.
Right. So here's my question. I had like a follow-up question, and this is sort of like geared towards like, how do you find your tribe? It's like, how did you, I mean, it takes work to grow a Facebook group and yet still run a coaching business. So how do you find time to really grow that tribe? Did you go in with the idea of creating a group where you're going to look for people to help you, or did it just grow organically to where you're at now?
That's a good question. When I created the online community, I specifically said to myself, to my coach, to everybody, this is not just like a Facebook group for me to get leads and sell people. You know, this is a safe space for women to talk. In addition to that, with the coaching, what I do is I create content and I post it on my profile, on my page, in other moms groups, in the coaching groups, and in the sisterhood, and just kind of put it all out there, see what comes back. Find time. What is time? I'm just like, someone asked me yesterday, she was like, how do you find time for self-care? I'm like, do I find time for self-care? I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm not great at that. So I have women actually in the group that's what they coach on. I have a lady named Danielle who is incredible. She's an incredible woman, and her whole thing is self-care. So she creates content and puts it in the sisterhood too, which is awesome because I have other people contributing, and it's not just like me and my group. Like, I wanted it to be a community, you know? So time, I'm still working on that, to be honest. I create a content schedule. Sometimes I stick to it, sometimes I don't. I create a schedule for my life. Sometimes I stick to it, sometimes I don't. So, yeah.
So it really comes down to you set your intention in the beginning. And before I dive into the next question, really is like, I want to remind everybody, if you're enjoying or you can relate to what Willow is sharing, please consider hitting that like button. And feel free to leave us a comment down there in the sections. And like I said, that'll be a great way I can follow up and ask some great follow-up questions if she'd be willing to come back. So with that being said, it's like we're talking about setting intention. So you set your intention when you created the Facebook group, and also provided the platform for you to be able to be vulnerable with who you are, correct?
Yes, definitely. Yes. I had never recorded myself and like put a video on Facebook before. And I've been on Facebook for like 10 years. And my coach was just like, again, he's just like, just do it. I love him. He's so masculine. He's just like, just do it. Action. And I'm like, but I need that balance. So it's great. So he's like, just put it out there and see what happens. I was like, okay. So I took a video. I didn't have any makeup on. My hair was a mess. And I was just like, hey ladies, this is how it's going. I had a baby on my shoulder. I'm like, this is my life, like, what are you doing? And it was incredible how many people responded to that. And they were just like, thank you for sharing. Like, I had one lady who was just like, this was such an important thing for me to see. Like, it's important for me to see another mom who's doing what I want to do and isn't like perfect, wearing high heels and has, like a perfect backdrop. You know what I mean? Like, you're a real person. And I'm like, whoa, I was vulnerable and something magical happened from it. Like, this is great.
Right. So I am, like I said, I love hearing your story. So what has been your biggest struggle with growing the group?
Ooh. I have a weird relationship with social media. I tend to go all in or just like fall completely out, so it's the balance for me of being on there too much and not living the life that I say that I'm living. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I want to be present for my family. I want to be with my family when I'm with my family. So it's the discipline that if I have a post and I'm curious about people commenting, what's happening, I have a scheduled time to be on Facebook. I do not check it all day, every day. I don't check it when I'm with my kids. Like, it takes so much discipline. One of the biggest things is deleting Facebook off of my phone and only going onto it on the desktop when I actually have that scheduled time. Again, I fall out all the time, but I keep doing it because I know it's so important to me. Like, I don't I love social media. I love all of the benefits of social media, but this is my life. This is real life. These are the people that are right in front of me that need my attention. So the hardest part really has been just maintaining the balance. Growing it is easy, to be honest. Growing it's easy because what I do is I post in other moms groups. Like there's a Cincy moms groups that I'm a part of. I post interesting things. I got one of the posts today. It was, what do you wish your partner understood about being a mom? I have 75 comments on there, and I haven't even gone in there and started because it's just a whole thing, right? So it's having the patience and the discipline to, okay, I have a time set for tomorrow. I'm going to go in there and respond. And then all of those people, I add them as friends. They already know that I'm a real person and I care, right? Because I'm active in that group. I add them as friends. I add them into the group. It's really that simple for me. I show up authentically with the intention of creating a space for people, as opposed to what can happen easily in the coaching world where it's like all I'm doing is constantly trying to find clients to sell. You know what I mean?
Right. So I mean, when you talk about for those who are not really big on the social media, because I know we all have our social media journey and stuff like that, but like, what do you say about people or the critics who say, they're only weak ties? What would you say that has been the biggest benefit, just despite that aspect of, because you can build a real rich relationship, can Definitely. You? Or
yeah, I think social media is like money. It's a tool. There are people that hate money, right? So I think it's on how you use it. Again, you have to have the discipline to not be on it 24/7, especially after watching Social Dilemma. I'm just like, ugh. But
that's the second time I've heard it, so I'm thinking I might have to check that out.
You have to check it out. It's so intense, and I was just like, oh, how do I get back on there after knowing all of this information? But it's consciously showing up with that intention. Like, I'm on there to build relationships. I'm on there to reach out. So for me, it's the initial connection happens from social media. I know people on social media that I would never probably have met you otherwise, right? So I have the initial connection, and then it becomes a face-to-face Zoom call, an in-person call. I don't keep it on social media if possible, right? If I feel a connection with someone, it's like, hey, let's jump on a call. I want to learn more about you, just like you and I did, right? So I think it's having the discipline to use social media intentionally. If you're on there and you're just scrolling and judging, which is what I've done for years, it's not going to be a good relationship, right? So social media is a relationship that you have as a person. Like, you have a relationship with Facebook, with Twitter, with Instagram. Don't abuse it. Don't let it abuse you.
So I got two questions, and I'm about to wrap it up. But yeah. What's the one thing you really want to leave the audience with?
I want to encourage people to be vulnerable. Just try it, because I have had moments in my life where I've been vulnerable and it's not been great, but I've had way more times that vulnerability, like true vulnerability, has served me. And in that way, I mean, reach out. When you're struggling, reach out, because there are 7 billion people on the planet. There's bound to be someone that understands at least a little bit of what you're going through. You don't need to suffer alone. Women especially, like, we're built to be connectors. We're built to lean on one another. Like I said before, men are great. They're great supporters, but they're not other women. It's just different. So men, women, everything in between, lean out, lean onto your community, lean, because otherwise you're going to spend years like suffering. And especially if you're a mom, your kids are depending on you to be strong and to figure it out. Like, you got to figure it out. You got to own up, take responsibility for what's going on, and reach out. That's my big message.
Well, I like that. I love that message. And my next question is kind of easy now. After that was, where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
So they can add me on Facebook. That's easy. Message me on Facebook. I will add you to the sisterhood. You can go to my website and send me an email there. I'll give you my phone number. You can just call me. Like, all of the ways, any way that you feel comfortable reaching out. Cause like, there's different levels of vulnerability, right? Some people are like, yeah, let's just hop on a call now. Some people need to text for a little bit, and that's totally cool. So you can call me, you can text me, you can message me on Facebook. Willow Drake. I'm like one of the few Willow Drakes out there, so it shouldn't be too hard. But obviously, go to Tonia's website. Are you going to have the information on the bottom of this video?
Yes, ma'am. I'm about to give that. So,
Perfect.
But I also want, what's the name of your website you said?
willowdrake.com.
Okay. Those are for our podcasters who can't see you.
Yes, sorry, you're right. willowdrake.com. Willow Drake on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm Mrs. Willow Drake. Let me just give my phone number out right here.
No.
Real personal.
We'll stop there. And with that being said, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your message and stuff like that. And I would love to follow up. If anybody has any comments or questions, please put them in the comment section. And that way I can always follow up with Miss Willow, maybe invite her to come back on, because that's what I like to do. So I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for coming on there, Miss Willow.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure and honor. I'm so excited to be in your network and to be able to reach more people that really need that love and support. So thank you so much, Tonia.
My pleasure. And I also want to remind all the listeners that feedback is always welcome. And I will have all of Willow's comments and sites and everything that you can connect with her down there in the comments, both on Anchor and on YouTube. So please look down in there. There's some golden gems down there. And if you're enjoying the content that you're sharing, please give us a like, hit that like button, leave us a comment like I asked. And if you're enjoying all the insight that everyone is sharing and you want to consider to hear more, please hit that subscribe button over there. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we'll see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. All right, bye-bye.
Share with us. What was one of your takeaways from today's show? Post your answers on our Facebook page.
Hi everyone, this is Tonia again, popping in to say thank you for listening to today's show. Coffee with Tea interviews are always free, and if you're enjoying the wisdom and insights that are being shared, please stay and grow with us and show your financial support. You can buy us coffee or become a monthly supporter. Links are posted in the description box. And again, I wanted to personally say thank you for tuning in.